Buddhism in this manner, what are the contemporary challenges to Ambedkarian Buddhism? I basically envisage three contemporary challenges to Ambedkarian Buddhism. First of all, the rise of fascist forces in India from 1980s onwards. From 1980s onwards, we have seen not merely emergence, but immensely emboldened expression of fascist tendencies in India. RSS, with its Hindutva, too, has tried to contribute to this fascist tendencies in Indian social order or in Indian society. This formation has dictated particular notion of culture, particular notion of history, and particular notion of identity as the desirable characteristics of Indianness. With this, it has denied non-Brahminical and other formations any space in defining culture of this nation, history of this nation, and identity of this nation. For Ambedkarite Buddhists, it is necessary to engage with these fascist formations. It is necessary to provide critique of this fascist formation. Only then a just and humane world can emerge. It is also necessary for Ambedkarian Buddhists to look at other contemporary challenges that are taking place in the world. And what are these challenges? This challenge is challenge which comes to fore basically with neoliberal capitalist persuasions who are trying to define the notion of world order. The notion of world order is ever greatly more hegemonically being defined by neoliberal capitalist persuasions. It is within these persuasions they have argued for human rights. It is within these specific persuasions they have argued for democracy. And then they have said that it is only under neoliberal capitalist persuasions that both democracy and human rights can exist. But what kind of commitment to human rights has this neoliberal fascist persuasions have rendered to us? If we look at this, though we are talking about globalization with human face now after 10 years of globalization, even they have realized that we are losing out on human face, it is still necessary for us to see that these persuasions have led to loss of just employment, loss of or erosion of state support structures, and loss of survival mechanisms for people as such, both in developing countries like India and developed countries of the world too. As a result, it is not human rights but violation of human rights that seems to be the marker of contemporary existence. Ambedkarite Buddhists will have to critically engage with these formations also. The second phase of this kind of appropriating hegemonic formation basically is seen in America's war against Iraq. American administration told us, tried to convince us that Saddam's Iraq presents threat to democracy and threat to world peace, and therefore it is necessary to end Saddam's regime. Indeed, Saddam was oppressive, but in this struggle against Saddam, American administration tried to convince us that Iraq possesses weapons of mass destruction. All of us have known that American administration, though have succeeded in capturing Saddam, have not been able to uncover any weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And despite this, old civilization is crushed. And while crushing this, what is it that has been told to us? You are either with us or you are against us. This hegemonic language basically is quite detrimental, inimical to any notion of democracy. Ambedkarite Buddhists will also have to critically engage with this hegemonic forces taking place in the world. Thirdly, Ambedkarite Buddhism based on Buddha and his Dhamma also has to be sourced to critically understand emergence of unfolding of Buddhist identity in India. If one looks critically as the unfolding of Buddhist identity in India, we will come to know that this identity formation is largely unresponsive to Ambedkarian articulation of Buddhism. Largely. On the one hand, indeed, Buddhist conversion has put forth this view that we have right to decide our destiny, and therefore we chose Buddhism and not the social order which imposed specific kind of existence to us. This itself was a radical negation of oppressive cultural, social, religious order. But after this, kind of Buddhist identity that has emerged is identity which is not rooted in Ambedkarian persuasions. Indeed, there is this particular movement towards meditative Buddhism, movement towards arriving at freedom from strain and stress. It is important for people in particular walks of life. But this articulation of Buddhism does not help us in critically engaging with oppressive forces, critically engaging with everyday instances of atrocities, critically engaging with exploitative economic formations, critically engage with disenfranchising aspects of our life. And as a result of this, I think understanding Ambedkarian articulation of Buddhism essentially means, first, that we are makers of our own, not only history, but also future. At the same time, we have to engage critically with all oppressive forces, be they in immediate Indian environment or be that in the world over. Thank you very much.